We are good. Dr. Tamara Weinstein, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks, Sarah. How are you today?
Busy people get stuff done. And so I said, it's a summer Friday. Who's the busiest person I could possibly think of? Mom of 4, nutraMetrix consultant, trainer, professional coordinator, certified trainer, in the middle of a move. That's who I should definitely ask to carve out some time with me. But you've had a lot of success recently, and I really hope that you're celebrating this summer, because I know a move for you was on your goal statement. We've been working together for a while. But let's go back to the beginning. Can you just tell me, you're fresh out of school as a physical therapist. What'd you do first?
So fresh out of school, I worked down in Manhattan at Columbia. I started my career in cardiac and pulmonary rehab. And, I have to be honest, we didn't have a whole lot of nutrition background in grad school, in physical therapy school back then. It's much better now, I know, because I helped teach it. But back then, there wasn't a lot of knowledge base that I came out of grad school with. And I remember working in the hospital with patients that just had a heart attack, that had open heart surgery with bypass because of, coronary artery blockage. And I remember watching these trays of food come up to my patients. And can you guess what was on those trays, Sarah?
Yeah, probably processed, white. Yeah.
Yes, white,
Not
processed. Not real food, hamburgers and French fries. And even with my limited knowledge, I knew that wasn't right. I knew there had to be something better. And so I took it upon myself to do a little further education, continuing ed courses on nutrition. And it sort of led me into a path where I knew how important it was to eat healthy, to supplement the diet, because I don't believe we can get all the nutrients from our food supply. And then lo and behold, I was introduced to nutraMetrix.
It's incredible. And not even like from a friend, right? Wasn't it very casual?
It was very casual. Catherine Knapp, who was my neighbor. Unfortunately, she moved away, but now I'm moving away too. She knew I was a physical therapist. We were actually owners of a day spa as well at the time. And she invited me over for lunch and wanted to share some information with me.
I love that. People think that we put on, like a matching, pantsuit outfit, and we have a briefcase and packer bag. And sometimes it's as simple as saying I just opened up a bottle of rosé and I can't drink it by myself. So come on over. Right. And let's be friends. I know you're always good for that. So.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
And that's what it is.
And the honest truth is she just really said, I want to share some information with you. Asked me a few questions about my interests and my thoughts and beliefs, and went over and had lunch. And when she showed me the Isotonic delivery system, I was really impressed, because I was already living in a place where I believed that powders and liquids were, in most cases, better options than pills for many of the nutrients. And so the Isotonic delivery system definitely was something that helped seal the deal. But I have to tell you, I started introducing the products first with friends and family. I was actually pregnant with baby number 4, so we didn't have our prenatal back then. So I made my husband the guinea pig. And he really felt a difference fairly quickly, especially in his energy level. And I thought, okay, let's go for it. And it's just been an amazing journey.
That baby just had a birthday recently, right?
Just turned 14, my baby, my youngest. Yeah.
Craziness. Absolutely crazy.
I am officially the shortest I am just officially the shortest person in the family now. Everyone has surpassed me.
It was interesting. I was talking to someone just this weekend. They wanted to introduce nutraMetrix to a gym owner. No, he's a certified athletic trainer and owns a gym. And I said, oh my gosh, you have to plug into Dr. Tamara's training on the 25th, because you have 2 sons that are like giant bodybuilders too. So your whole family, I mean, you got guns yourself. So that's what happens. Yeah. I mean, you have to. I feel like, just to try to keep up with the kids. I got a little 20-pound 7-month-olds that I got one bicep bigger than the other.
Yeah, you got to switch so you stay even.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be seeing one of your colleagues, a physical therapist. So, in medicine in general, but I saw this first in physical therapy. a lot of practices were saying, I'm not playing this insurance game anymore, and I'm going cash based. Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing and hearing with that trend.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, I went cash-based. It was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. We were spending so much time dealing with the administrative piece of the billing, whether it was, we went from a billing person to a billing system, back to a billing person. It was just so time consuming, and the reimbursements were just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the co-pays were getting bigger and bigger for the patients. And so we decided to go cash base, and we are out-of-network providers for many different companies. So that's helpful as long as the patients have out-of-network. But what we really found is that when you figure out what the co-pays were compared to the reimbursement for out-of-network, my patients actually more often than not make out better paying me and then submitting for reimbursement. And, it depends on the practice. Some of the practices I work with, the provider will help do the submission for the patients, but I have patients out I just provide invoices for, and they submit it and they get reimbursed. And it's really been, I think, a win-win both for us as well as for the patients, because, the reimbursement for them as the out-of-network, as long as they have it, has been higher, less money out of pocket compared to the copay.
When I meet a provider like you that understands the economics of healthcare, and and you went into healthcare, I understand, because like you want to truly help people. You're a healer. You bring light and love to every conversation that you have, and it's really hard, a lot of people, to justify. I'm helping someone, but now I'm also trying to get paid for it. People don't always have like the best money story around that and actually asking for a sale. That's why a lot of people, I think, are even afraid to go cash based. I just heard yesterday, I was on the phone with someone, and they said, they were talking with a cash based provider, and that provider also then said, well, now I'm already asking for money from the patient. How am I going to ask for more money from nutraceuticals, more money from a wellness package? So what's been your experience with that?
In my experience, the key is really just education, right? I just educate my patients on why I believe it's so important to eat healthy, to exercise, to get a good night's sleep, to learn how to manage their stress, and to supplement with certain extra nutrients that, most people in general need because they don't get from their food supply. And whether it's, just educating during my sessions with the patients, or whether it's providing some written education for them, that's what I believe it all comes down to. And I can tell you, and I appreciate what you said about me, I really do care. I never even started with nutraMetrix, thinking about the fact that I was going to be making money. I'm grateful I am, especially in today's world. But that was, honestly, I never even thought about making any money with nutraMetrix. I just wanted to provide a good quality product back to my patients, help them heal faster, help improve my patient outcomes. Little did I know 14 years later, it was going to spiral into something totally unexpected, which I'm grateful for. But my patients know where I come from. My patients know that, the information I'm sharing with them is to help them. It's not to put money in my pocket. So I think it's in the presentation and the fact that we're just in the business of educating, right? That's what all healthcare professionals, I believe, should do. So
I just did a live yesterday, and it's going into the learning management system. If people are watching this while that's launched, that's going to be all on introducing products to patients and follow up. And it's just about that education system. I like to remind people too that it's a convenience, right? What is it? The stats are like that 70% of Americans are on supplements anyways.
Right.
Listen, like as a busy mom and person, and I run a million different things and wear different hats. If you're going to go send me out and say, omegas might help you, the research shows, and now you want to send me on another errand, like forget it. I'm not doing any other errands. Like,
right.
But if you say here is a convenience, Sarah, you can walk out with this package. I'm like, oh, no way. You're helping me and crossing something off my to-do list. Like, Sign me up, whatever. Can I get groceries while I'm here? Like, what else can I do?
And that's so true. And actually, my patients were very appreciative. I used to send them to the health food store you know, and many times they would buy good quality product, because listen, there's a lot of things, a lot of brands out there that are great, but you know, there's a lot of junk science-based products out there as well. And so sometimes they would buy good quality and sometimes they wouldn't. And, you know, I always explain to them as part of the education, you just brought up omega-3 fish oil. If I have a patient that says, you know, my physician told me that I should take omega-3 to help support, you know, my heart health, the cholesterol, and healthy blood pressure, you know, they always ask me, well, what kind do you know, what do you recommend? And that's the other thing. I am a product of my product. I couldn't start with them because we didn't have our prenatal, but as soon as, you know, I was able to, I am a product of those products, and I share that with my patients too. This is what I take. This is what I give to my own children. All 4 of my kids, you know, have been taking this brand for years. And this is why, and the science backs up. So get your omega. If you want to get it from the store, that's fantastic. If you want to get it from me, I'm happy to provide it for you. I did my research. I did my homework. I know that this omega-3 has 3,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, and that's what the American Heart Association reports. That's what the science reports is a therapeutic amount of DHA and EPA for support. So that's what I use. If you go out, go right ahead, but make sure you read your label, you know, so you're aware.
I mean, I know that you can spit this info off. I mean, now you are a certified trainer. You're one of the best trainers. If anyone has an opportunity to plug into one of your trainings, either solo or with your partner in crime, Jim Dwyer, that you sometimes train with, that's definitely fun. But you also, let's give a little bit of credit to your nutraMetrix consultant and team, you know, with Catherine Knapp and Lisa Grant, and I mean, legendary, like you're, you know, on the all-star team there. But now you're your own. I mean, you're a challenge winner and you've, you know, won awards and you're a trainer with us. At what point did you say, I want to introduce this to colleagues?
So I actually started, interestingly enough, even before I knew what the business really was. The products were working so well that I started sharing them with other colleagues without even considering the business at all. It was just, these products are amazing. These products are helping my patients. My patients are coming back and saying, thank you. We're seeing great results. And I started sharing that with other providers, and then other providers were like, oh, well, tell me more about it. And so I was already very familiar with the products, but I had no idea what the company or the business was behind it. So that's when I would call Catherine Knapp. And Catherine and one of my NCs, one of my best friends, who's one of my NCs, Julianne Grillo, Catherine, Julianne, and I would go out on calls together. And that's sort of how I spiraled into the business, not knowing what the business was. And, you know, when the offices would ask questions, I could answer the product questions. Catherine would answer the business end questions about the administrative piece and all. And I just learned from listening to her. And so she was a great role model for me. And then I reached a point where, not that I don't need her, but I didn't need her anymore. Yeah. And then she sort of took a step back and started working with some other people and to train them. And then Julianne and I sort of went forward on that side, and then, you know, brought on some additional NCs. And the honest truth, though, is, Sarah, we all work together as a team all the time. I mean, I think it's so important. No matter what your knowledge base is, going out in pairs really makes, I believe, a tremendous difference in the interaction and how the whole, you know, component of meeting people and gathering that information and the implementation from discovery all the way through. I think it makes a big difference.
I'm always less nervous. But Sunny actually had someone that approached me the other day, and I really felt like I wanted Brandy on the call with me. This was actually a non-nutraMetrix account. And I said, you know, it'd be fun to do this one with Brandy. She helped me out yesterday. I was so grateful for that. And not that I couldn't, but in all my sales positions and when I was a sales manager, we always tried to go out in pairs because of that reason. We were always more successful when we fumbled a little bit, you know, the energy, you have a third person to be able to just mix up that energy, keep it a little bit more high vibe.
Absolutely.
What happens, because a lot of providers, you know, you're a provider, you know, so you're a therapist, you're a doctor, you're a, you know, whatever type of provider is listening to this call right now. And now you're going to go and approach colleagues and basically say, like, I have a different hat. I also consult. How do you word that to people to tell them that, yes, I'm still seeing people as a physical therapist, but there's something else I do alongside?
I just share my story is really all I do. I just share my success, how many people I've been able to help, you know, patients as well as other individuals by expanding, you know, the word of this company of nutraMetrix. And, you know, I have to say in today's day, I always started with product first. That was where I always led, but it's a bit of a different world now than it was years ago when I started. And there's a lot of providers struggling financially as well. And so, you know, especially once, you know, this virus hit and everything shut down, my office closed. A lot of providers I've spoken with, you know, they had to close initially and then, you know, slowly started to reopen. You know, if we're not seeing a patient, we're not getting paid, right? And that's a problem. I have to tell you that I was so grateful that when my office closed and the schools where I provide physical therapy for some kids, some students, and the schools closed, you know, my income plummeted from a professional standpoint, but the checks that came in from nutraMetrix have continued week after week after week. And so I think I've shifted a bit over the years in terms of introducing the potential that the income can bring as well. I used to be afraid to bring that up, but I'm really not anymore. And often now, since this was all happened back in March, I often will even lead with it. A lot of the providers we've been speaking with in the last few months have really felt the impact of having, you know, a skeleton office running right now. And, you know, having a source of residual income just from helping people, well, it's really a win-win. And so it's been a process, and getting comfortable with what you have, I think also is really important.
Let's talk about the future. Let's just end with this. You know, where you see physical therapy going, like why it's maybe a good time to talk with physical therapists, and maybe what you think about just that combined with the future in nutraMetrix.
Yeah. So I've been very happy over the last years to see the changes in physical therapy and generally in all allied health professionals, as well as physicians, MDs, DOs, and so forth. You know, there's really been a much stronger push toward nutrition for all of us to educate our patients. The American Physical Therapy Association put out a statement a few years back that supports nutrition in physical therapy. If our patients don't have proper nutrition, how are they going to heal? How are they going to perform the exercise and the tasks that we require of them to perform if they don't have the nutrients to have energy to heal their tissues and so forth? And so they did put out a statement that it is now in our Practice Act, which I was really happy for because I do teach nutrition and PT as well. You know, I think there's been a general consensus that people need to get healthier. And so for all allied health professionals, but as a PT specifically in the physical therapy world, I have to tell you, I did a webinar, a continuing education webinar for the American Physical Therapy Association, our national association, with my business partner, Jen Darby. I get calls from random physical therapists now, somehow find me online or find me through the APTA. I want to branch into nutrition. Can you help and give me guidance? And it's been so great. And they're always so happy to hear that I'm willing to speak with them because it's still in the infancy. It's still in the infancy, but it's really starting to take off. So I think for providers in general, having this background in nutrition is important. One of the things I love about nutraMetrix and working with nutraMetrix in that realm is nutraMetrix gives you a lot of education. So if you don't come in with the education, there's a lot of trainings that are available through nutraMetrix. There's a lot of other health professionals to interact with in nutraMetrix from all different backgrounds, whether it's on our private Facebook group, whether it's going to the product and implementation training, you know, all different things. And it's really helped so many of the providers that I've worked with knowing that they have support until they reach a place where they feel like they could be independent. So nutraMetrix has played a key role in educating so many providers, I believe, over the years, especially ones that I've worked with, to launch that nutrition into their practice. Patients are asking for it, they're looking for it, and nutraMetrix is a platform to provide it and educate all at the same time. So it's been fantastic, really. And I think the genetic testing piece, you know, I do a lot of gene SNP testing. I believe nutrigenomics is truly the wave of the future. I've been lecturing at New York Medical College in their third year doctoral program in their health and wellness course on nutrigenomics. This will be my third year lecturing on that for them. It's just really taking off across all disciplines, I believe. But I love our product and our program and the education that comes along with it as well. And I do think this is the future, and we're in the right place at the right time with nutraMetrix.
From a productivity standpoint, you're going to be really excited in a couple weeks when we launch the DMS, which is the distributor marketing sites. We have on there embedded, I'm in the process of finalizing with Jason Pelland and the Oasis team, but there's going to be embedded in there basically a discovery meeting question.
Oh, nice.
So when people contact you, you can really screen them ahead of time and have them pre-populate a lot of those questions, which I think is going to make the process for a busy person like you even easier. The technology with our learning management systems and to be able to plug people in, then it's going to be where people show up and they can get a more advanced training from a provider like you, because we've put a lot of the basics already online. That's what we're looking for. So when we all show up as a group or we get together on a live webinar, it can be, a more advanced conversation.
That's great.
So that's where we're going from our end.
That's great. That's very exciting. I love all the new technology that this, offers us as well. So
yeah. Well, I will let you get back to boxes and moving, and hopefully you can break.
That's where I want to.
I know. But I don't know who does that with a full face of makeup and your nails all done. You look great. So all that matters, right?
Got to try and keep up with everything, right? But yeah,
You're
so
doing it gracefully.
I have 2 weeks now of craziness. I have the nutraMetrix 101, 201 coming up on Saturday, July 25th. And then next thing you know, I will be moving to a different state.
I know. So the 25th, people can, I'll drop the links if you're on Facebook with us. I'll drop the links below with this webinar so people can go ahead and register for it and the flyer. But tell me a little bit, because I usually tell people, if a provider can just do one of the two to do the 101 versus the, 101 and 201.
Right.
Is there anything else that you want to say that makes your training a little bit different if people have attended one before?
I think just being a provider, I kind of add that perspective in terms of product and product knowledge and some stories of how I use products with my patients, in terms of, setting up the office and implementation. And I share some of my personal stories for myself and some of the providers that I work with, and then also being an NC and an HP, both, I have the opportunity to kind of share both of those roles, because I do actively work as an NC, as you know, as well. And I'm out in the field on a constant and consistent basis. Even in these times, we've been doing tremendous amounts of Zooms with all different kinds of providers. And it's been actually a fantastic venue. So I'd love to share some of the new things that we've been doing virtually that have been working really well with myself and my NCs.
I'm telling you guys, if you have the opportunity, jump on. Dr. Tamara Weinstein is the real deal when it comes to your building. And that's what you want to hear from. It's not just you did it once. It's what are you doing right now to make this meaningful and different? So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
you for having me.
I'm coming to your new house.
Come visit down on Lake Norman.
I will. All right, everyone. Happy weekend. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Be well.